the typical production in the world works a great deal together with other departments. But because of the rapid pace of the show, there is a tendency to entrust everybody with what they're doing and hope when it all comes together it's a synchronized idea. But there are many times when, out of concern or details regarding things like wardrobe or costume, let's say, for example, here's a good example, but maybe not an expense-wise good example, but let's say we're doing a Peter Pan sketch and we want him to fly. Sometimes people forget you can't use green chroma key for Peter Pan because he's going to be green. His wardrobe's going to be green, okay? Or we've had a couple incidents where we don't think about it because maybe it's not Peter Pan and we don't know. Maybe it's a sketch where someone flies, but they're in green. I wouldn't know that unless someone calls it to my attention. And when you go to fly someone in green on a green screen, we have the option of blue, which not everyone knows, I guess. But, you know, you could do a blue or a green screen. And if there's been times when all of a sudden you key out and all of a sudden it's a floating head or something silly like that. And you're like, now that's a drag for me, unless wardrobe wants to help me out and change the costume. There's sometimes that discussion. Tom Broker will sometimes, ask us specifically and say, do you think you can please repaint the set? He looks blue on blue. Not for chroma key reasons, but just for contrast. And we picked blue and we really liked it blue. But shit, now we got to repaint the whole set. Now, I don't repaint it, but I don't like to ask our team. And like I said, you're only as good as your team. Our team is great, but geez, I would really rather have painted it the right color the first time. But we just do it. That's what we do. And that's what Mark, our lead charge scenic out at in the studio, always says. We do what we do. That's because that's what we do. And Helene and Vinny, my right-hand charge scenics out at the shop, are, really break their butt to get done what they get done, and they don't do finish paint work. They're always slopping on prime coats all day, and I imagine as an scenic artist it's probably not the most enjoyable to just be priming everything all day, but we don't have the time to do the finish work, and they go up to the studio and work with Mark on Saturday usually, and they get to do the finish work there. But in terms of the other teams, it's, we work with them as little as possible is usually the best way to put it. Not on purpose, but just because we're too buried in, in doing the whole, making sure the whole, our job is done well. So yes, lighting sometimes we'll get at odds with them a little, but generally they do a really good job. And sometimes I had a couple sets. We did a set that was supposed to be like a haunted house, I remember, and I thought, geez, it's an awful bright haunted house, not very scary, and I kind of tiptoe in there, but I want to say, like, haven't you guys ever been in a haunted house? It's awful bright, and and you get, well, we have to light the people, and you're like, okay. So yes, if there's a majority of overlap, it's going to be with lighting and design usually, and this is not uncommon. This is not particular to SNL. This is very common in any of the projects I've worked with, in the theater projects, in the other projects I've worked with. There's often a lot of give and take. Listen, lighting designers are designers, just like costume designers are designers and set designers are designers. We want to design, so do they. They don't want to be told how to do it. But sometimes for the sake of synchronicity, you got to insist or say, I want it to be dark, I really, and I don't know if everyone would agree with me, but I tend to feel like the production designer is usually the lead on most of it. Maybe not, but that's kind of a broad statement. But you lead the look, and you want it to be a certain look. So maybe when it comes to lighting, they're the lead. Not always with wardrobe, but sometimes the best projects are when everything is synchronized and you all kind of do agree on where you're headed.